You are now listening to the Lasting Legacy Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. Another episode of the Lasting Legacy Podcast. And again, another reminder, if you're watching this on YouTube, like the video right now. If you don't like it, you're not allowed to keep watching the video. So today we have a very special guest. We have Andrew Shahmohammadi. He's the owner of Shahs, Kabob Gyro. And we're basically going to talk about what it takes to go from food truck to a restaurant empire, basically. So thanks for joining us, man.
Hey, thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Once again, I am David, owner of David Took It Photography and Videography, and usually I'm the one asking the questions. So,
cool.
Yeah, man, you want to go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So, I'm from Pueblo, born and raised. Went to PCC, Public Community College, got an associate's degree in business, and then went to UCCS in Colorado Springs and got my bachelor's in business administration. I got a 10-month baby, a wife. So a lot has happened for me this last year. Marriage, baby, new house, and the restaurant business is really good for us right now. We're doing really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. What made you hop into the food industry in the very beginning?
Yeah. So do you want me to go full into the story?
You have such a great story too, how it started. And
yeah. So I had gotten out of college and I moved back down to Pueblo, and I was in the weed industry, dispensaries. I had just got a bachelor's degree, and I was I don't know, something drew me to that industry, obviously because it's booming. And I thought that's kind of where I was going to be. I worked at a few dispensaries, and I was kind of leveling up within that industry. But there was a part of me that always wanted to do my own thing. Since I was a kid, I've always kind of wanted to do my own thing. So my dad, he had worked in the medical field for 30 years. And he always wanted to do his own thing as well. So around 2015, he brought up the idea of maybe starting a food truck for events like the State Fair, the Chili Festival. And at first, to be honest with you, when he brought that idea up, I was like, no way. You know what I mean? Like, there's not enough foot traffic in Pueblo. And none of us had commercial culinary experience at all. My mom, my dad, me. So
turns out you don't need that.
yeah. So I mean, like, it was just like it was kind of like, whoa, I don't know about this. But we knew a guy in Oklahoma that was in the business. So we went out there and just kind of kicked it with him for a couple days and kind of got a feel for what he was doing.
Yeah, it's so weird. I was in Oklahoma City that same weekend.
Yeah, that's right.
I was down there on vacation, and I saw you tagged it.
I remember. That's good. Good memory. Good memory, man.
I was like, and you tagged yourself at this restaurant.
Yeah.
And I was like, I remember I messaged you. I was like, "Are you really in Oklahoma City?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Me too." That's so random. Yeah, and that was 7 years ago.
Yeah, that's wild. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Full circle right here.
Seriously.
So anyway, I went there and I was like, nah, man. Like, can we cuss on this? Are we good?
Yeah,
right?
oh yeah.
Yeah, I said, fuck this. I'm not gonna do this.
I think the more cussing it makes me make the reels a lot easier, actually.
I just gotta get warmed up a little bit. But I just said, no, I don't see myself doing this. Let's not do this. So anyway, I don't know. It's probably like 6-7 months after we had gotten back from Oklahoma. My dad, he worked at St. Mary Corwin, so he was always in that neighborhood, and there was this old Mack Tools truck for sale. Well, actually, it wasn't for sale. My dad literally knocked on this guy's door and asked to buy this truck.
Damn.
Okay, it was an old beat up truck, and he ended up, I don't know. He negotiated. He got the truck. He paid $1,100 for this truck.
Wow.
Now, granted, it needed a ton of work, So he bought this truck with none of us knowing, and I said, all right, man, like, I guess, you're real serious about doing this, So anyway, this truck probably sat in front of our house. At the time, I was living with my parents, probably for like a year and a half, and we really didn't do anything to it, because we were still kind of like, I don't know. He had a full-time job. He was a PA at Corwin, and I had a full-time job in the dispensary I was working at. So we were just like, well, maybe, you know. So anyway, we got serious about it, and we started to build it. And straight up just YouTubing, like, you know, how to fabricate stuff. All right. My dad's always been a good handyman. He knows how to work with tools and stuff. So obviously that helped. But literally gutted this truck out. And I mean, I wish I had pictures to show you guys like what it looked like. You know, it was rough, but we took our time with it. And as I saw the progression of the truck being built, that's when it really hit me. And I was like, you know what, man, like maybe I can make something out of this, right? And all I saw it as is an opportunity to like do something for myself, right? And to be honest with you, like I don't care if I had to slang shoestrings. It doesn't matter. But whatever I was gonna do, like I was gonna put my all into it, you know. And so as I saw this progression of this truck being built, that's when I started to believe in it, right? So fast forward, we get it built.
Like the build of that truck was just insane too. Like,
yeah,
it was,
and it took some time, man. It wasn't easy. Like it wasn't easy. And there was times I remember we were putting the roof up, and it was so challenging to put that roof up, and all of it was challenging. But we were literally like, we're gonna sell it,
yeah,
you know. But like, there's something within my dad. I think he just, when he starts something, he's gonna finish it. And I mean, thank God we did. So anyway, we finished this truck, and I remember like being like, okay, like, so where are we gonna put it, you know, right? So our first I went to the Pueblo West Walmart, and I talked to the manager. I said, hey, could I park my truck here on Friday and Saturday? And he was like, all right, that's cool. So I remember our first day opening, it was the Pueblo West Walmart parking lot, and I was so nervous. I was also, I'm not going to lie, I was a little embarrassed, right? Because you're in a food truck. And there's a stigma of food trucks, especially 2016 in Pueblo at least.
You guys were one of the first
they
food
were
trucks
nowhere
to
around.
even know.
Yeah. So they have a stigma of like a roach coach and like, oh, you're working in a truck. Like, so I had to have a little humility to basically be like, all right, man, like I'm taking orders out of a food truck in a Walmart parking lot, right? So that first day, I think we did like $700. That was pretty damn good for like the first day.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I did pump this up through Facebook a couple months prior. I was already showing the progress of me and my dad building this truck, so people were already kind of getting a feel like, oh, okay, like they're about to open.
Yeah, your social definitely had a big play on it for sure.
Yeah, 100%, man. Like I'll say this, man. Without Facebook, Shahs isn't here today.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Oh, yeah.
The food's good, our marketing's cool, but Facebook, and especially around that time, Facebook ads. I was utilizing Facebook ads before anybody knew about Facebook ads, and I still use Facebook ads, but back then, I swear, you could put $20 on one picture and it would blast to like 10,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
Now they've changed the algorithms and everything. But anyway, I utilized Facebook, and we opened up, man, and that was the day I knew. I was like, all right, man, I got to do this full time, because me and him both were working. And I apologize, because you know what? My mom's just as big as me and my dad in this business, right? Because she was there too. You know, it was me, my dad, and her the first month of the business. And we were only doing like Fridays, Saturdays, just kind of getting a feel for it. So after that first month, once I figured out how the truck operated, how to cook, like all this stuff kind of getting thrown in the fire, I was like, I'm going to run this myself. So I called up my friend, lifelong friend, known him since middle school, Jarrett, and I was like, hey man, like, do you want to like work full time with me on this truck? And you know, like, I'm blessed to have Jarrett in my life, because without him, there's probably no Shahs either. Because wouldn't have had help. Someone that reliable and loyal, you know what I mean? So, and not only that, he helped me out with videos, pictures, like everything, man. So having that guy on my side during the whole food truck venture, couldn't have done it without him. So much, I owe a lot of respect to him.
Yeah, some of the videos you guys put together, they were really cool. I remember one specifically, like it was about Pueblo basically. It was like a 2-minute long video, just random shots of Pueblo and like the music, like everything was so cool. But everyone in Pueblo just vibed with that, and then at the end just says Shahs, and everyone's like, "Oh damn!"
No doubt.
I remember that video, and that was you and Jared, right?
Yeah. I was like, listen, no one knows who we are. We're in this food truck in the middle of nowhere in Pueblo West.
Selling not Mexican food.
Not Mexican food. Exactly. A food that not a lot of people knew about. So
I still don't know what a kebab is.
Yeah, so. Exactly. And that's all right. Like, it's not your fault, you know? It's not your fault. So I was like, we have to be creative, and we have to strike some emotion within people that is going to say, what is this? Now, I don't do too much off-brand content now. I try to keep it within what we sell. But in the beginning, it was a good way to like, I made like a 2-minute B-roll of like just Pueblo, like shots of stuff that I did growing up, like literally shots of Tinseltown.
Yeah.
I wanted people to be like, oh yeah, create that connection.
I remember seeing that, and I was like, damn, Brad, why don't you go make some shots of Pueblo and put your logo on it? And I remember trying to like make an eye movie. I was like, this is shit.
You didn't know me then.
I was like,
it's all right.
This isn't me.
Yeah, and I look back at it now. I don't know if I would do it again, but the thing with creating content in the early days is it kept us interested in what we were doing, especially the downtime during on a food truck, man. I mean, there's days you make $30 on that truck all day, man. So like you got a lot of time to be creative, right? So we would go to Jared's garage, his parents' garage. He had a green screen, and we would just like, my cousin, he's no longer, he's in China now, but we would just create content.
Is
like
he selling kebabs in China?
I'm sure. Yeah, he's trying to get it out there. He keeps telling me, he's like, bro,
Shahs worldwide, baby.
So good out here. You do so good out here. But like, we were just having fun and being creative, and that's what kept us so interested, you know, in the business. Because I always tell people, man, if I was in that truck all day long, which we still were doing the hustling. We were still. Dude, it gets hot in those trucks, man, and it gets cold too. So winter's extremely cold, summer's extremely hot. So we're still grinding, busting our ass, but at the same time, we're like, after we get out of the truck, we're like, all right, we gotta make some content. So it was just like, I had the blinders on, man. The only thing I was just like so invested into like blowing this food truck up, and yeah, man. I mean that was in the early days, and now it's so busy now. There's no excuse, but we are struggling to like constantly create content just because you know,
if you don't hire somebody who's outside, you know, not even just me, but like somebody who does this full time, like that is what I prefer to do is document people doing what they love, because you if you're super busy, you don't have time to create for yourself, you know. So I come in, we set a little time, you know, even during a busy hour, and then you go and I go my way, edit the video and stuff, photos, shoot them back to you guys, and you guys never skip a beat, and you still have content. You know, like that's like huge, and why I do it. You know, it's crazy. I know you touched on it for a second, but can you explain what kind of food you guys sell?
Yeah, sorry. So it's Gyros or Gyro. I don't know. I don't get on people and they mispronounce it, because honestly, I've heard everyone pronounces it differently. But it's Gyros spins on a little rotisserie, and you shave the meat off, and you know, you throw it on the grill, throw it on some pita bread, and you got a sandwich. But
you have a lot more.
So
that's the innovative part of what, just taking that basic food and putting a twist on it.
Yeah, we have like 16 different Gyros now. But what I realized that early on in the business was like, dude, this meat's good with anything. Like, you could put barbecue sauce on this. You could put green chili on this. Like, you could put anything. You could put nacho cheese, whatever you like, it goes good with. So something I realized is that most people that were in this industry, the Mediterranean Euro industry, restaurant business, was that they just stayed within the box. Like they just did the traditional Euro, and we have that. But I was like, man, I'm American, man. I grew up eating like barbecue sauce. I grew up eating, I'm from Pueblo, green chili. So I was like, I never for once was like, we're going to keep it traditional. I was like, put whatever we want on this. And then also you're like expanding your menu off of keeping the same, the core is the same, right? So you're just going out, like, it's just like Taco Bell.
I was going to say, Taco Bell does the exact same thing.
Same thing, man.
It's
so
huge.
Like, I'm not like, I don't have like 15 different meats to choose from, you know? So that way, right, like your waste isn't, you know, you're not having a ton of waste. You have no waste, right? Because, you know, you use everything you have. But now we have chicken, we have steak too now. But in the beginning days, like, I was just like, all right, so let me make a Western barbecue gyro. So I was like creating a product out of, you know, the same source, right?
Dressing it up,
and you know, putting value behind those individual products and making like a Western barbecue cowboy commercial. You know what I mean? Like, so it was just like, I always was like, listen, I'm in Pueblo West. These people don't know anything about this food, so we're gonna Americanize the shit out of this food. You know what I mean? Why not? And not only that, let me tell you this, outside of Pueblo too, you could go anywhere. No one's doing these variations. So I always thought if I ever try to get outside of this market, I have a niche. You know what I mean? I have a niche to go compete with these dudes. You know what I mean? So yeah, we have like 14 different gyros, man. I mean, a Philly cheese, a barbecue, a sunny side gyro. I mean, it's
I
crazy.
can say I've tried every single one, and they're all good. I would eat every single one of them. Every time I go in there, I try to get a different one, and now I just wait till you make a new one.
That's
Cowboy
insane.
Dorito. It's like literally
the spicy yum
Doritos,
one.
man.
Oh man!
And listen, it's not like this stuff is that creative. It really is the stuff that you eat every day, but it's like, let me just make it better.
Yeah.
Right. Like
The
tater
quality
tots,
of the
man.
meat.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and like your side items, right? Like I have something called tot boxes, and there's just tater tots, but we have like the same variations of gyros. I do it with the tater tots, and you know, people are always like, well, you know, like I can't think of any good ideas. I can't think of like, you know, anything creative. But it's like, listen, man. You don't need to have a new idea. You don't need to invent something new. You could literally sell tater tots, but just make them hotter, make them fresher, put in the extra time, and that's it. Like, right? And then throw a little variations on there, right? So it's just like innovate, do more innovating and less inventing, right?
And there's stuff that you've tried to create, and then you're like, nah, actually, I don't think I'm gonna do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not just like, oh, this is fire. This is
do
fire.
limited
like
runs.
You've
Talk
been
about
trying
those the
a lot
same
of
thing.
stuff, too,
When they
for
introduce the
sure.
fries, they build up the hype, give the fries, take it away. Everybody freaks out. You bring it back, McRib, you know, all that. You know, I feel like there's no wrong way to do that. You know,
100%, man. I've had a lot of fails. Like, you know, I've tried to sell waffles at Shahs, man. I've tried to sell baked potatoes at Shahs. Not having an oven, trying to sell baked potatoes.
just microwaving some
you know,
potatoes.
and I have a problem of being like, sometimes I ought to take a step back and just be like, all right, let me think on this a little more. I have a problem with like, all right, I get an idea and I just rush it out. And sometimes like we'll put it out and then like 2 days into it, I'm like, nah, let's take it off. And then people are like, hey, what happened to that? You know, it's just, but I'm not scared, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
you have to take risks.
If you're not going to take the risk, or you're not going to try, then why are you in business?
Exactly.
So like, I know you got the truck. You guys built the truck.
Yeah.
Then you went and bought a trailer, built a trailer, right?
Yeah,
Or
yes.
So you at one point had a truck and a trailer. Then you downsized. Then you went brick and mortar. So
what is
like,
that?
how was
what does
that?
that transition look like?
That was probably crazy.
To the brick and mortar?
Yeah.
Mainly,
Yeah, so when we had that first truck, we were doing really good out in Pueblo West. It was like really good. We were steady, you know. And we were like, you know what? Why don't we just put another truck in the city of Pueblo? And I had worked at New View dispensary, and I had a connect where I was like, hey, can I just keep my second truck here? And they're like, yeah, you could just keep it here. And they were so nice, man. They let me use their electricity, their water, and they never charged me for anything, you know. So I was pretty blessed to have that. And anyway, what I realized with the 2 trucks was I was spreading myself out a little bit and maybe too early, because I put trust into some, you know, into guys that I just hired, and was like expecting them to, you know,
be as passionate as you are.
Yeah, correct. And I started the public. So I went to the new truck over on the north side in the city, and then I had a crew out on the Pueblo West truck, and they did the best they could. But I just started noticing the sales were starting to go down a little bit. I was getting some reviews, and I was like, man, like maybe I need to take a step back. We're moving a little too fast, and let's go ahead and take this Pueblo West, because the city, when the second location, that place was banging off, man. That was insane. It was constant on that little corner, man. We're just banging off all day, just, you know. So I was like,
no parking, people just lying in the streets.
Yeah, just like, so I was like, yeah, man, like we could move on from Pueblo West, and let's just do this out here. So we sold that first truck, and then the trailer we just ran that for about a year. Then a building on Eagle Ridge down the road happened to come up for sale, like, I don't know, 7 months. I'm sorry, a year into running the second truck. That building had come up on market, but we had to do a lot of conversion to that building. You know, like, it wasn't a restaurant. So just like with the food truck, man, me, my dad, my mom
got the band back together.
Yeah. Seriously, I have pictures of my mom like digging hole, because we had to change the plumbing line to a 2-inch to a 3-inch. Like, there was a lot of stuff, and we did as much as we could without having to. We still had to hire subcontractors and everything, but it was the same deal. Like, we did as much as we could to save, because we didn't have the money, man.
I know there's like a picture of you or your mom or your dad or someone like digging up a dirt hole in the middle of the restaurant, basically, when you first
straight up, man. Like, straight up, like, everything we did as much as we possibly could ourselves. It's the only way.
Yeah, you'll go broke.
Yeah, we didn't really have money. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
it's expensive capital.
And we were it's all bankrolling this in from slanging gyros on the corner. We were just putting it all back into here.
Yep.
And yeah, so that conversion. So we were still operating the food truck while we were building this restaurant.
Talking about being spread thin.
So I remember we literally closed the truck for like 3 days. And then we're like, all right, we're going to close this down for 3 days, and then we'll have the restaurant open. So there wasn't really a break. It wasn't like I closed the truck down, we were closed for like a month. It was truck, restaurant, bang.
Yeah, you had to make the money to fulfill the brick and mortar.
100%. So I remember like the first day, it was crazy, man. It was so busy. But now I look at it now, and I'm like, I was actually...
You're like, if I ever have a day like that, we're in trouble.
That would be a slow day.
Yeah.
But it was so overwhelming, because it was like, you're not used to that demand, right? Like, when and especially like the equipment is different, everything is different, right?
POS
was
system.
Like the workflow different? Like, did you have any struggles? Like, I'm sure I know you had a great system down in place in the truck, in the sense of getting the order food out, made and out. Did you use that same process essentially in the restaurant? Was there any issues with it? Did you have to tweak it a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's tweaks, obviously, but for the most part, it stayed the same. The only difference now is back then we only still had one grill. So, like, when you get super busy and there's just one guy on one grill, then, it's no matter what. Like, he could be going crazy fast, but you're still going to be slow. You just can't keep up with the demand. So now we have 2 grills. But, no, I mean, man, like, every day I had gotten better. The crew had gotten better. It was just like literally thrown in the fire and just getting better. Like, none of us were pros at this. None of us, So it was just learning, man. Throwing in the fire and adapting and figuring things out, and and just giving it your all. And people, I will say this, people understand that. You don't even need to tell them. They know when you put work into something. They could tell. So I think that's a big reason for our success is because,
touched on the team, the front of the house, back of the house. How is the workforce now? I see help wanted signs everywhere. Is it still hard for you to find quality people, retain people?
So I got 6 employees now, and I'm very blessed and lucky to have the group that I do. I've had 4 of them for 2 years now,
Nice.
When I find the good ones, I make sure to try to retain them. A lot of times you get good ones, and then the biggest problem with my industry is that you're not going to find much long-term type of people, right? These are younger kids. It's a temporary job. So it's like trying to motivate these guys and trying to find someone who's like about it, who's in it for the long term is hard. So when you do find those few, you gotta do your best to try to retain those guys,
absolutely.
Right. So I've been pretty lucky overall, but I've had my bad apples too.
Always. A couple people come in for 1 or 2 shifts and then
I've had that happen. I've had a kid work literally like a day. And the next day didn't show up. So you get that. Yeah, I've had people literally I've interviewed, given the job, and them not show up either too.
On their first day?
First day.
Dang, how do you get fired on your day off?
Well, I think a lot had to do with a lot of during the whole COVID unemployment deal. As long as they were showing that they were applying and they were interviewing, then it was
they were still keeping that money. Yeah.
So I realized that I was like, man, these guys are burning me. They're using me as leverage.
Their pawn.
So I realized that. But I will say, man, that is challenging sometimes to really find a good employee. See, I don't want a guy who knows everything. I want someone who really doesn't know anything about this business at all. The one thing I look for is someone who's just going to be loyal and reliable. The other stuff will come. Even if you have to have patience and put up with their mistakes, it's fine. If they show up to work every day and they're there, keep them, man. And just learn to deal with their flaws, and eventually they're going to learn. Now, in the early days of the business, I wasn't so patient. And I was, get out, I can't deal with this.
Get out of my truck.
But now I realized, hey, man, you got to keep those people. You can't jump the gun too much, because at the end of the day, I'll take the guy who takes 20 minutes to assemble a sandwich but shows up every day 20 minutes early than the kid who's super fast but has an ego. I hate that, man. If someone comes in there with an ego and everything, that's just like an energy vampire. They suck the energy out of the kitchen, and that's important, man. Because you think about it, I got 4 people at most working at a time. If one person is sucking the energy out of
that's 25%.
And that's you
can't
have
suck
that.
50% out of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
My thing is yo, man, you got to find the high quality characters, and all the skills and all of that will come. We'll teach them that. But so
you touched on COVID, and I want to go back to that. A lot of businesses struggled. A lot weren't open. A lot couldn't adapt to the parameters of it. How did you guys?
In your industry.
Yeah. How did you guys?
Man. So it was crazy. I was at Jimmy John's with Jarrett. He's my right hand guy.
The guy from Subway.
Yeah, he's.
Thought he was in prison.
Literally. I know. I was at Jimmy, and we kind of we were seeing the news. We were sensing something was about to happen, and then I think it was they're gonna do
it's like a shutdown.
They're gonna restrict the dine-ins, and I was like, hey man, we're only gonna do carryouts, for whoever knows. Honestly, I thought it was gonna be a week, 2 weeks. Okay, just a couple carry.
And then that Delta variant.
And then there was a shortage of toilet paper and clamshells.
Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah. So I don't know, man. As soon as I knew it was legit, hey man, things are gonna change. I was like, let's double down on carryouts and marketing. And I built a website right away, pickupshahs.com, and it's just linked in with my POS. But I was like, we're gonna push carryouts. So I mean, literally for that whole 2 months of the beginning COVID days, we were just creating content, carryouts, DoorDash, Grubhub. Like, I wasn't going to lose to COVID. Like, I was no way. And honestly, and I feel bad because there's so many people affected by COVID, but I felt like that's when we thrived, was during COVID, because it put us on like we were already good at making carry-out food. That's what we do. We started a food truck. So it was like,
back to the roots.
We're a good carry-out restaurant. We have hot food. Literally, we make a food, 15, 20 minutes later, it's still hot in their hands. So this is a good time to take advantage of this issue and actually helped us out. I definitely feel like it helped us.
Yeah, you guys adapted, you know what I mean?
Adapted,
a lot of people just kind of climmed up and shut down, didn't know what to do, and you kind of, I mean,
you can see the lasting effects of that.
Yeah, you were especially in an industry that was highly affected, and the great thing is like, people wanted to support those restaurants too. People wanted to support them so bad. And but a lot of the restaurants made it so hard to support them. You guys made it so easy for people to support you, and like the hustle. I mean, like you were a website designer. You know what I mean? Like you just like, I gotta make a website.
I didn't know shit about websites.
Exactly.
I didn't know. I just figured it out, man.
YouTubed it. Yeah.
I mean, and thank God now it's not like you have to code HTML anymore. There's like drag and drop, so it's like super easy. Like,
my logo would look cool up there.
Yeah, it's super easy. It's user friendly. So I was like, we gotta do this, man. And now pickup Shahs, I swear, it's probably I would say we still get more walk-ins than anything, but that's like number 2, man.
Yeah.
We're getting at least 30 orders a day, maybe more, off of that one website, right? And
That's huge.
I have Grubhub, I have DoorDash, I have Uber Eats too as well.
Pueblo to go, all these different things just came out of nowhere.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's a whole deal too, and it's out the whole delivery game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I feel like a lot of people were able to capitalize on that.
Yeah, and it's hard because these guys take 30%. Straight up 30%. That's my profit on food. It's 30%. So I had to kind of do on my delivery websites. I do have a 15% markup,
of course,
from in-store to kind of meet them halfway a little bit, right? Because you really don't make a lot. But I'm telling you what, man, there's no better marketing than those delivery platforms.
Yeah, I know a lot of. I mean, I've heard people say like they use those delivery platforms as advertisement, essentially marketing.
Dude, what better way?
You know,
you're literally putting your product in their hands,
and and right next to some of the biggest companies ever. You know?
Yeah, and you're
next up there with Buffalo Wild Wings, and they're like, "What the hell's a Shahs?" You know,
exactly,
and they can go to it and kind of see, like, I didn't even know we had this. You know,
yeah, we're number 2 restaurant ranked on DoorDash in Pueblo.
That's huge,
behind Chick-fil-A. So
that's crazy.
We're coming for you.
It's hard to beat. It's hard to beat God's chicken.
Yeah.
On Sundays, I got you though.
Chicken.
Actually, they're both closed on Sundays, but
never mind. I'm gonna open something up.
Wait until that Tuesday comes around, baby. We got you.
I'm only gonna work on Sundays. That's huge.
Yeah, man. No doubt.
No, that's absolutely awesome. Now, how is juggling the private life and personal life and business life?
Got married, 10-month-old baby.
How is that balance?
That's fun. It's been fun for me.
Yeah,
so
it's fun.
I always like to ask people that question.
It's challenging. Definitely, it's got its challenging times. But it happened at a good time, because if I would have had a kid in the beginning, it would have been really hard. But it happened at a time where the business is like a machine now, and it's kind of operating itself. Right. Now, I got to have a lot of trust in my employees to run everything the right way. But it allows me to have the leverage to be able to leave to pick the baby up. And, but if it would have happened 5 years ago, no way, it would have been impossible. Because like I said, in the beginning, all of my time was into Shahs. All of my time. And I'm happy it was. But now I have a balance. So the balance, with anything, eventually you start getting more comfortable, and yeah, it's not bad. Me and my wife Taylor, like we have a good. She works a lot too. She works 5 days a week, and so I have the support though. My parents watch the baby. So
outside of the business, right? She doesn't work for the business.
She's a news anchor at Fox 21. That's how I met her. She did a story on Shahs. So yeah.
Just brought you money, brought you a wife, brought you a baby. Doing
Damn.
pretty good.
100%,
Gave
man.
you exposure. This is
Exposure,
that's
man.
awesome. Yeah,
and I stayed in the
awesome.
same spot.
Mhm.
Like there's so many people who try to get outside their lane, man. You know what I'm saying? And I always try to tell people like just stick within your lane, man.
if it's working.
If it works, it'll come. It'll come. But like too many people get offside. They take the wrong exit. That's what I always try to say, you know, just stay on the lane. Don't try to do anything crazy, you know, and especially like growing up in Pueblo, you know how many people like hate Pueblo that are from Pueblo, and I hate that, man.
It's like a reoccurring theme on this podcast.
Very, very much so.
for sure.
They just like hate Pueblo so much. And it's like, yo, stop blaming your city, man.
Yeah.
Stop
You
blaming
suck.
your
Yeah.
city for your circumstances.
Quit saying the city sucks when it's you who sucks.
100%, man. Like straight up. I sold something that no one even knew in this city at all in a food truck in Pueblo West and made something out of it in Pueblo. So I'm real passionate about that because I see so many kids try to run from this city thinking that, oh, if I go somewhere else, I'll have more opportunity. No, work on yourself, motherfucker. Sorry.
Apparently,
That's good.
I like
Thanks.
it. It's gonna be a great
That's
reel.
gonna be a hell of a reel.
Like it's crazy though. Like so many people, we like the people we have in. They're all younger. They're like, you know, most of them like we're in the 30s and
28.
28, yeah. And yeah, it's like that's a reoccurring thing. It's like there's like almost two sides of Pueblo. There's like the people that are doing it, and then there's people that are complaining about it. You know what I mean? And it's like ultimately you get to pick whichever side you want to be on of that.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't give a shit if you're in Pueblo, if you're in Springs, if you're in El Paso, wherever the fuck you're at. Like,
There's three types of people.
It's you. By the time you're 30 years old, your life situation is 90% of the time it's
100%.
your fault.
Couldn't
You
agree
know what
more,
I mean?
There's three types of people: people who watch it happen, people who make it happen, and people who don't know what the hell's going on. You know, like, and you fit strongly into one of those categories. You know,
100%.
and everybody wants to make it happen.
100%, man. Like you have the ability, no matter where you are at, to make something happen. You know what I mean? It's just like, are you willing to be patient and put in the work and sacrifice and do all this stuff? And, you know, like tons of sacrifices, man. And all this stuff sounds cliche and you hear it on motivational videos. But
true.
It's the truth, man.
Yeah.
That's
Straight
why
up.
everyone says it.
It's the recipe.
The people that do it are the ones that are like, it's true. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. So we're pretty big on goals on the podcast. So short, medium, long-term goals. Short term being 6 months out. You know, medium a year or two, and long term maybe a 5-year plan.
Gotcha.
What are some of the goals for you personally and with the business?
Personally is to a lot of times when you go in life, you go through flows. You know what I mean? Like you'll have like months where you're hitting the gym, you're meditating, you're reading, you're doing all this,
All the TikTok shit.
all that. And you know, like sometimes you do well, and then there's times where like you get off of that. And just so everyone knows, that's okay. Like that's fine. That's normal. Like it's okay to get in and out of your, you know, if you don't work out this month, okay, that's all right. But as long as it's in your mind and you're thinking about it, you eventually need to do it. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so like personally, like I need to get back onto like the meditation, the working out. That helps me a lot, you know, just not just with like physically, like, but just mentally, right? You're just better, you feel better, reading, all that stuff. I need to get better. But, you know, having a kid, getting married, buying a house, business, like you just sometimes, you know, you lose that time. But there's no excuse. I need to get back to that. But like for the business wise, short-term goal, we're me and my dad currently are building another food truck.
Oh, nice. Getting back to the roots again.
Yeah, I never thought we would.
Was it a Snap-on truck this time?
No, this was ambulance.
Oh,
ambulance.
dope.
Old
Heck
ambulance. Yeah. We bought this ambulance like 2 years ago on an online auction. We weren't able to see it in person, and we went there to pick it up. It was in Denver, and I was like, we had already bought it, but the roof is like 4 feet. I'm like, oh man, like what? We can't do anything with this truck. So literally, this truck sat in front of my parents' house for like 2 years, and we're like, oh, we'll just sell it, you know. But I was like, whenever I see that truck, I'm like, this is just more income. Like we could make money out of this somehow. You know, I don't want to just sell it. Like we could use this for something. So finally, I've gone through so many ideas. I was like, well, we're going to start a pizza business. Like, well, maybe I'll just sell funnel cakes out of it. Like, you know, I've tossed around so many ideas. But what makes the most sense is our kitchen, our demand is so high right now. Our kitchen is not big enough to keep up with the demand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to park this truck behind our restaurant and use it as a second kitchen.
Nice.
And
Okay.
we're going to start doing kebab sticks. Like, because even
Like
though it's in our
shish-
name,
like shish kebabs?
Hey, listen, even though it's in our name, we don't do kebabs, and we used to.
Wait, what?
We really went hard with the Gyros.
We did.
It just looked better on the logo.
Well, we originally had kebabs on the food truck. We did have kebabs, and we had kubide kebabs. That's like ground beef that you put on skewers, and then you had to freeze it. But there was a problem with it. It was taking like 15, 20 minutes, and like the Gyros take like a minute, you know. So we're having like this big time issue with it. So it was a headache. It was a lot of prep work. So we got rid of it pretty fast. So I would say probably 6 months into the food truck, we just stopped doing kebab. But we're gonna do kebab on a stick. So like it's different style kebab. It's not ground beef. It's like we're gonna do chicken kebab,
Nice.
steak kebab, shrimp kebab on the stick. So it's basically like another arm of the business is gonna be pumped out through this truck in the back of the restaurant, and then we'll have a menu, you know, for that truck inside the restaurant. So my goal now is to just generate as many streams of income to this one location, as opposed, because for a long time it was like, all right, I'm gonna get a second location. Like I need to find a spot in Springs, and it's so hard to find commercial real estate. It's so hard to even find a spot to park your truck at. You know what I mean?
With the big boom of food trucks, I can only imagine.
It was crazy, man. So I was like, you know what, man? Maybe I don't need to spread myself like this. Let me continue to try to pump this one spot as much as I can. So I'm gonna try. We're gonna see what happens. It could fail. I don't hope not, but that's short-term goal, business goal. A long-term business goal, man. To be honest with you, I know Shahs will take care of itself in the long term, right? Like it's already a system. It's already a machine. It takes care of itself. But long term, I don't know if I want multiple locations. If the opportunity comes, if some investor comes up to me and says, hey man, I like your brand, I like what you're doing, you know, I'm willing to help you grow this business, and he's legitimate, sure. But trying to do that myself, it's hard. It's hard. You got to find employees, you got to find a place, like there's just everything that's involved. So right now, I'm just focusing on the now right now and just trying to pump as much volume and revenue through this one location. And like I said, if someone comes along and said, hey, we want to help you grow, sure, I'll listen to that. But listen, man, it's not like I'm super, like, I love what I do. I'm passionate about gyros and food and everything, but I'm willing to do anything. Like, if there's a need for it and I could see an opportunity and, hey, this is going to make some money, hell yeah, I'm about it. So I might be, personally, I might have another business. You know?
Yeah, something completely out of this realm. Yeah,
100%.
No, that's awesome.
100%.
And then long-term goals, personally, what are you looking for?
I mean, it's to be a good dad, man. Be the best dad I could be. You know what I mean? That to me means more than anything, right? Because you could be a really good businessman and you know your shit, but if you're not checking the box of being a good dad, then fuck all that other shit.
Yeah.
They don't mean anything. So becoming a better person and having a baby, man, like has made me a better person. She's taught me more than anyone has ever taught me anything. Because you just deal with patience and just it's a whole nother game, man. So
You're on her schedule.
yeah, so just being the best dad, man. To be honest with you, that's it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
100%.
We also have another reoccurring question that we ask all of our guests. It's kind of on the lines of what we just talked about, but what do you want your lasting legacy to be? What do you want to outlive you?
Just that, listen, like, no matter where you're from, if you're from Pueblo, if you're from Trinidad, like, don't think that you're any different than anybody, like, and that you have a chance. So, like, I always say, like, Shahs, I want Shahs to embody, like, the hustle and motivate. like the dream, like, you know, straight up started from the bottom, like that. I want Shahs to speak for itself, right? And people know that. People who've been following Shahs from the get-go know. They're like, damn, like we seen the progression. So just that's what I want people to take away from, is like, don't limit yourself. Don't think that you're less than anybody. Like, you have a shot. Listen, I always tell this to everybody. Chipotle started in Denver. You know, Chipotle. Look how big Chipotle is. And I always said, if this guy is 2 hours away from me, why the fuck can't I do this shit down here? That's how I always thought. This guy is not smarter than me. He doesn't work harder than me. So what makes him any different than me? That's what I want people to take away.
That's huge.
It.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of passion and fuel. You know, there's still a fire burning within you, which is awesome. How long have you guys been in business?
About 5 years total.
See, that's awesome. You know,
2 years in a truck, 3 years in a brick and mortar.
Dang, yeah, that's super awesome.
Soon I'll be adding Shahs to my portfolio.
Yeah,
my retirement portfolio.
Heck yeah.
I mean, yeah,
going public. Let's go.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Hopefully one day.
No, that's super awesome, man. It's great to see, you know, success stories. Most businesses fail within 3 years, and you guys are just thriving.
Thank you.
So that's super awesome, and want to thank you for coming on and making time and doing the
thank
podcast
you
during
guys.
the day. This is weird. If you notice a difference in the background, it is a different time than we normally do it. But this has been the Lasting Legacy podcast. You can find Shah and all of his contact info in the link down below. Thank you all for listening. Good night.